Good morning, everybody. It's Auntie Favor, that is it. Your favorite auntie, a children, teens, and youth minister for about 30 years now. And who also specializes in the neglected aspect of this ministry, that is storytelling. I'll be giving us stories every day on all these platforms. Most of the stories I will tell are my stories written by me through the inspiration of the Holy Ghost, and other stories by teachers of like manner and visions. As you keep watching and listening, may God bless you. I also wish you take your pen, you take your paper, and write, because I know these wonderful stories will really make a great change in your lives. God bless. The story of today is the three great trees, or what I titled Great Expectation. A very thick, very big, very dark jungle. Yes, it was an oriental jungle, big enough for giant trees, big and thick shrubs, and long dangling creepers. It was the time of the year when trees shed their green leaves. In fact, all the green leaves of giant trees turned yellow and then brown and fell on the ground. Many trees had white fruits on them. As the leaves turned from green to yellow and some to red, and then the wild wind began to blow. The whistling wild wind shook the branches. Then, whoosh! A fruit from one of the trees exclaimed and broke into bits. A seed fell out of it. Before anyone knew again, whoosh! Another one. Whoosh! Two more fruits fell and broke into bits. And two more seeds scattered. The three seeds found themselves on the ground near each other. "Hello there," said one. "It's wonderful to be out of the fruit," said another. "The sun rays are hot," complained the third one. The three seeds lay on the floor of the jungle. The wind began to blow dry grass on them. They felt a bit warm. "Hey, where are you both?" asked the first seed. "We are here, near you," replied the other two at once. The wind was doing its job perfectly. The dust from the ground also came upon the seeds. It was difficult for seeds to be blown by the wind. The seeds could hardly talk to each other, but once in a while they exchanged greetings. The days turned into weeks and then weeks into months. Quite long, the jungle began to feel some droplets. The seeds felt the cold and could not ask anyone about the sudden change. As the days passed, the rain showers increased and the ground became soft. "Hey, where am I going?" shouted one of the seeds, as if something began to push it inside the ground. Then the unexpected happened. The ground covered it. The other two seeds experienced the same fate. The three seeds were now buried deep in the ground. They felt warm, but as if they were under the anesthesia. A sleep fell upon them, and they needed no one to tell them that they were cut off from the rest of the world. The trees, bushes, creepers, climbers, everything blossomed. As rain increased, the leaves became greener. The new leaves appeared. The multicolored flowers smiled with joy. The fruits glistened to the sun rays whenever the rain stopped. Jungle and its flora felt joy beyond its bounds. Suddenly, there was almost an invisible moment under the damp grass of the ground, and a little crack, and then something whitish popped up, a crumbly little thing, but it began to stretch itself and have some green on itself. A tiny seedling stretched again and spread out two small leaves. "Oh, somewhat light, I feel good," said the seedling to itself. And of course, the other two seedlings followed. "Watch out," said the second as he spread his first two leaves. The three seedlings looked at each other but did not recognize themselves. "Hi, your voice seems familiar," the third one said. There was no need for introductions. The three seedlings recognized each other. They began to share the experiences of staying buried in the deep sleep for months. Soon the three became close friends. The days passed, weeks passed, months passed. The jungle was their home. They began to grow and became fat and tall. Years after years passed. The three seedlings turned into three big trees. They were turned into branches. They were full of leaves. They were full of tiny flowers. The birds and small insects made their nests on them. The three big trees made them their resting places. They were very happy growing together, chatting and sharing their hopes and dreams. Even small squirrels hopped over their branches. Woodpeckers loved to make their their lives. When they be cut down to serve man, they share their hopes, aspirations, dreams, and purposes. I would like to be made into a big boss where treasures will be stored. Royal treasures, said the first tree. That is a great idea, the second tree commended. But after a little thought, he said, my dream is to be constructed into a big ship and carry a great man who will travel from one nation to the other and will do great things. I can't wait for the day when I will be used in making the tallest pole, said the third tree. Tallest pole? For what? Asked the first and the second tree. A tallest pole to carry a flag of a mighty king, so that anytime people look at it, they will know who that mighty king is, explained the third tree. And so the trees expressed their desires and waited for their dreams to come to pass. Weeks passed and months also passed. It was a bright sunny day. A group of men entered the jungle with axes and swords. They stood in front of the first tree and admired it. They cut it and brought it down. It was carried on carts. Each journey ended in a carpenter's shop. The tree wondered what would happen next to it. Within a few days, a big box was constructed out of it. Then it was kept in front of the carpenter's shop for sale. In no time, a shepherd passed that way and glanced at it. He liked it. This is a good manger, he thought. And quickly, the shepherd paid the carpenter for the box. He kept it tied on his donkey and carried it to his stable. He fed it with enough straw for his cattle to feed. The place where they put the box was a shepherd's stable in Bethlehem. It was a dark, starry night. A couple hurriedly entered the stable. They also had a donkey. They lit a lamp and kept it in one corner of the stable. The animals in the stable were surprised to see these strangers. They were busy eating their straw from the new manger. The man's face looked worried. His wife was heavy with pregnancy. The man asked his wife to lie down on the cloth he spread for her. And then suddenly, there was a cry of a baby. The cattle stopped eating the straw. They had never had a human baby's cry in that stable. That stable was for animal babies and not human babies. The man smiled at the sight of a newborn. He carried the baby near to his wife's face. Both were happy to see their son. The man looked around as if for something, and then lifted the manger and brought it closer to his wife. They rearranged the straw, they wrapped the baby in bands of cloth, and placed it in the manger. The wooden manger carried the son, the treasure of Mary and Joseph, baby Jesus. Oh, wow. Back in the jungle, the other two trees waited for their own dreams to come to pass. The second tree was not as big as the first one. So, when men came to the jungle, they passed it and looked for the bigger trees. Days passed, weeks passed, months passed, and years passed. Years after years, the second tree became real big. It took many years. And then, when men came to the jungle and stood before the second tree, they nodded in agreement. They needed a tree just like that for their job. They cut it down, trimmed its branches, and carried it to the town. The carpenter looked at it and made it into a big boat. The boat was big and strong. The carpenter was satisfied with his work. He proudly displayed it in the boat market for sale. Many fishermen came to that boat market to buy boats. On a bright sunny day, a fisherman came to the boat market and bought the strong big boat. He took it to the waterside, where he filled it with fishing nets and baskets, and we are ready for fishing. The place where the fisherman kept the boat was the Lake of Gennesaret. One day, a man was standing by the lake with the people crowded around him and listening to the word of God. He saw at the water's edge a strong big boat left there by the fisherman who was washing his net. He got into the boat and asked the fisherman to put out a little from shore. Then he sat down and taught the people from the boat. When he finished speaking, he told the fisherman to put the net into the deep water to catch fish. The fisherman complained that even after working hard all night, he could not catch any fish. But then the fisherman agreed to let down the net. When he did so, he caught such a large number of fish that his net began to break. So he signaled his partners to come and help. At the sight, the fisherman fell at his feet of the man who told him to let down the net. The man said, "Don't be afraid. From now on, you will catch men." The fisherman was Peter, who gave the strong and big boat to carry the man Jesus. Interesting. Again, back in the jungle, the third tree stood alone. He felt lonely without his two friends, but he was real big and did not have to wait for too long as the second tree. A group of men rushed into the jungle and cut down the tall tree. They rushed out very fast towards the town. He did not take any special carpenter to work on the third tree. It was roughly trimmed and very quickly turned into a tallest cross. There was no need of it to be kept for anyone to buy it. It was then dragged to the most crowded place that the town ever saw. In the midst of mourners, soldiers, people who laughed and mocked a man whose body was full of blood. They hoisted the tree trunk. The man was forced to carry the tallest cross and dragged to a place called Calvary. It was about the afternoon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 o'clock, and the sun stopped shining. The man on the cross had a bunch of thorns around his head, and he was suffering in pain. The soldiers had hung him on the tallest pole. Now, a cross with long nails in his palms and feet. He cried in agony. Some women looked at him and were crying. Many other people were mocking him. Then, with a loud voice, the man on the cross said, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." When he had said this, he died. The captain of the Roman military, seeing what had happened, looked up to the tallest cross, praised God, and said, "Surely this was a righteous man." The man on the tallest cross was the King of Kings, Jesus. And that was how the 3 big trees were used. Do you think their hopes and dreams came true? I think it was much, much, much more than their hopes and dreams that came to pass. And that is why I call them the 3 great trees. The trees with expectations. If trees dared hope and have visions for the future, what do you, child, teenager, as youth aspire to be in life? For God so loved the world so much that he gave his only son, that anyone who believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. That is in the book of John chapter 3 verse 16. Let's look at it this way. The circumstances beyond the trees could not stop them achieving their aims and dreams. They were buried inside the deep soil, yet they were still dreaming. They were laid down on the ground under the sun. It didn't stop them. There were other big trees in the jungles. They could have said, well, these trees should have these big aspirations. We are just growing up. We are just seedlings. But look at them. They held on to their dreams. They had dreams. Do you have a dream? Do you have a purpose? Do you say, oh, my family, oh, I cannot do it. I'm not exposed. But these trees, despite all odds, they fulfilled their purposes and dreams. Wow. Now it's question time. Why were the trees called the 3 great trees? Please answer. What was the dream of the first tree? Number 3, the 3rd tree finally became what? 4, did the dream of the 2nd tree come to pass? Number 5 on the list. What lessons did you learn from this story? What lessons did you learn from this story? God bless you.